All right, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Friday to everyone. Hopefully, everybody's happy, healthy, and safe. I want to personally thank you for joining in on this special video by BlueRidgeSilverhound. I'm your host, Sean, and today we have a good one here for you. I think it's high time that probably we squash some of the misconceptions about Jefferson Nichols and the full steps strike designation, which can have a huge ripple effect in terms of value to all the coins that certainly grade out with full steps, especially some of those tougher dates from the 50s and the 60s. It's worth mentioning that this is a topic that has gone on to pretty much flood a lot of the coin collecting scene on not only YouTube, but the social media universe, Facebook, Twitter, you name it. Because it is undoubtedly a real thing. I just want to stress that. I'm one of the guys that could certainly attest to the fact that a lot of the coins that do sell for $5,000, $10,000, $20,000, $40,000, I mean, the sky is almost the limit with some of these coins that otherwise have been minted into the millions, if not tens of millions. But finding that one coin that we can send off to a PCGS or NGC in the hopes that it'll come back not only a high numerical grade, but also full steps, can be somewhat of a challenge. I've always dubbed full steps nickel hunting as being kind of a lottery odds affair. Okay, it's a love-hate affair with a lot of people. Some of you out there that actually go through all of the trouble to look through just rolls of nickels, whether they're bankroll nickels or those BU nickels of certain dates. Trust me, it could get very frustrating. And, they never said if it was easy, because if it was, everybody would be doing it. And a lot of people would be making money hand over fist. And I think people today, only because there's a lot of people that do need the extra money, this is something that a lot of folks, okay, regardless of their actual, knowledge level when it comes to numismatics, they attempt to do, and a lot of them end up blowing out really quick. Whether they've sent a submission off to the graders, it came back and none of them got full steps, or whatever the case may be. All right, but in this particular video, if you have a proof Jefferson nickel with full steps, I've heard a lot of people say, how much is it worth? Look at the steps on this bad boy. It is awesome. It's hammered. The strike is amazing. Well, yeah, most of them are. Okay, and then we're going to get into that here momentarily just by showing you guys a few diagrams of coins. As a comparison, okay, there's proof coins, which has its own place in numismatics as being the coins that were produced by the U.S. Mint for the collectibles market. Okay, and then you have the rest. Okay, what is classified as the rest? Well, the rest is what you and I throw into the jar at the end of the night, or we use it to go and buy that cup of coffee in the morning on our way to work. Okay, you have a few extra, coins, you throw that in there to take care of tax and so on and so forth. It's a beautiful world. But there are two distinct classifications of nickels that we need to explore, and that we're going to compare what each one looks like side by side in its highest grade. That's important. What do these coins look like side by side? And then hopefully at the end of the broadcast, you guys will see a lot of the newer folks. Okay, there are a lot of folks that already know about this, and this shouldn't be any surprise. Okay, so what I wanted to do was take a little time. Let's go ahead and explore eBay and to see how many people are trying to take advantage of selling full steps proof nickels. Okay, so in the search field, I've typed in proof nickel full steps. Okay, we are going to scroll down to the first listing in which someone is attempting to sell a proof nickel and also advertising full steps. Case in point, 1964 Philadelphia Jefferson nickel NGC proof 69. Reverse die rotated, okay, which is minor. It doesn't look too much, or would it add a significant premium. But this, ladies and gentlemen, full steps has been advertised into the listing. So we're going to go ahead and click in. We're going to get in a little bit close. And sure, 1964 proof nickel has probably some of the most perfect steps that you will ever see on a coin. And rightfully so. It deserves to have that as well. Alright. So this individual put in full steps on the listing as kind of a note, a side note for the sale of the coins. Now here's another one. 1978S Jefferson nickel ultra cameo proof full steps, mid-mark error for 78. There is no mid-mark error. I just want to go ahead and throw that out there. But this individual is publicizing full steps on his proof Jefferson nickel for $100. All right. So if the nickel didn't have full steps, it would be worth about 50 cents to $1. Am I correct? I don't know. I just want to throw this out there. That seems to be the going rate for a standard 1978S proof nickel. Okay, they're relatively common out there. A lot of them are in such high grade that it wouldn't make any difference, and it really, at that high grade level, doesn't move enough of a needle in the marketplace to justify anything higher than $1 or $2. Okay, but again, that's a story for a separate time. We are just simply focusing on full steps examples out in the marketplace of proof nickels that people are truly advertising as being a big selling point. Here's another one here. I mean, albeit this is a nice graded coin. I mean, you could hardly go wrong with a perfect 70 PCGS graded 1993S for $43 or best offer. But they threw in full steps, full steps, full steps right here again and again and again and again. And by the way, the 90s Jefferson nickels have high populations in proof 70, so they are very easy to find. All right, here's another set of 53, 54, 55 Jefferson nickel set, gem proof with full steps. Okay, so now that we got that out of the way, well, real quick, let's see if any of these have actually sold. Okay, we understand that these are out there, people are looking for them. Yeah, we're gonna bypass that because the 39 proof Jefferson nickel is just a valuable coin, period. So here's a 95 regular Jefferson nickel, 1967. This is actually a business strike. 6 full steps, mid-state 67. Not the highest grade, but that's impressive. All right, so yeah, we got a 53, 54, 55 nickel set that sold for $42.28. Hardly anything close to the $10,000 that a lot of YouTubers are publicizing for gem full steps nickels of certain dates. You know, like 57s and 53 S's and all that great stuff. But people are wondering, for some of these dates, is it actually possible, to convert these coins into a mid-state full steps status of coin and take advantage of that kind of money? And the real answer is no. And here's why. All right, so we're going to start off with the first picture. We have here a really nice, pleasing 1977S Jefferson nickel, a very high graded one at that. Okay, so this is what a proof nickel looks like. It was made for the collectibles market. They were made available in sets of about 5 or 6 coins. It really depended if it had the silver dollar in there at the time of sale, but these were sold directly to the public from the U.S. Mint. They were delivered in a nice hard acrylic case. Okay, a lot of us have seen these before, but the coins in these proof sets are made and designed to have the best possible strike ever. The dies were prepared a lot differently than the coins that were made for general circulation, which are also called the business strikes. So a couple quick observations of this coin is you have this nice frosty appearance. This is actually a design cue of the proof nickels that were actually sandblasted into the working dies. Okay, and then keep in mind, proof dies are prepared so much way different than regular dies. So to get this frosty effect on the actual coin, the actual dies were sandblasted to achieve the fine granular surface of the frosted devices. These fielded areas where you have the drippy, just like glass looking appearance of all this black right here has actually been polished onto the die to a great effect to achieve something like this. All right. And then as the coins are being struck, obviously there's a lot of wear and tear involved with the dies. But with proof coins, the proof dies are continuously maintained probably on a daily basis. I'm not going to kid you, because after about a few thousand strikes of a coin such as this, they're going to go ahead and re-sandblast some of those devices on the actual dies, so that way they can go ahead and crank out another couple thousand coins to make it look like the highest quality possible, because people are expecting the highest quality. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at what is called a business strike coin. Now, these right here were produced from a set of dies, a set of working dies that didn't have any what I would consider to be specialized treatment for the collectibles market. Okay, so you had the actual design details transferred from the master hub to the working dies. So they're squeezed together, and then the coins were subsequently minted. Okay, and then in terms of quantity minted, you can imagine maybe 50,000, 100,000, 500,000 coins being struck from one run of dies before they have to be reworked on or maintained, all right, to at least achieve a little bit of acceptable appearance of the actual look of the nickel, okay, because these things will over time look pretty mushy as far as the strike. Okay, so on this particular coin, this is a really nice high-grade 1942 Denver. This is not a wartime silver because the mint mark is here to the right of Monticello. Okay, and then of course you see the steps. All right, I mean, this is a really nice hammered strike, but even here on this high-grade mint state 68 full steps, you see some of these planchet nicks. Okay, so the quality of the planchets previous to the strike also plays a huge part in the actual end product, all right, from a proof coin to a business strike coin. If we were going to mass produce anything, we want the materials to be a lot cheaper. We want the methods to be a lot cheaper and economical. Not saying that the U.S. Mint cuts corners, but, you know, when the going gets rough, and especially during a time like World War II, you know, they're going to be cranking out much more coins in a newer composition, and then you're going to see some of the after effects of, say, quality control lapses and things like that. All right, so this is a business strike coin. Again, you know, many hundreds of thousands of coins can be struck from a set of dies, if not millions, depending on the type of coin that's being produced. Usually a coin that's crafted from nickel or things of that nature. Okay, it's a lot harder planchet composition, so it's going to provide more wear and tear for the dies throughout its duration. All right. So the next graphic that you see here is going to be a side-by-side comparison of a business strike coin, which are coins that are made and intended for circulation. That's the coin on the left. And then the proof coin on the right. All right, so let's assume that this coin right here was produced from its first 1,000 or 2,000 strikes from that set of working dies. Okay, and then this one right here is probably strike number 15,438. All right, you can see obviously the difference between the two. You got the frosty devices here. It's a very classical looking coin. You got the mirrory, watery, drippery black fields on here. And then right here, everything just looks the same. All right, you have the same satiny appearance throughout the rest of the coin. Even the devices are all the same as well. So that's the huge difference maker. Some would even say that these are even white gloved into its encasements. All right, so as these are being struck, there is always a mint employee sitting right there taking a coin out from a batch and then putting it in that acrylic case by hand, where these things are thrown into a great big hopper and then they're put into bags and then they're transferred to the armored car companies or to the banks. So they get beat up before they make it to the hands of the public. All right, so that's what that looks like side by side. I mean, glaring, obvious differences. And here's what I could do as far as the best possible kind of comparison to the steps. as you can see with the proof coins, they're all hammered. They're supposed to have differentiating separation lines in the steps. These are made to look like this, okay? It would actually be even more rare to find a proof nickel with soft, wavy, unstruck steps. In comparison, you're probably looking at less than 1% of the overall population of proof coins from 1975 to the current date, where you are going to find weak steps on a proof nickel. Okay, and then on the top you have the business struck coin. Obviously, it's looking a little bit more crude. You have the planchet nicks that are in there. Again, the original quality of the planchets not nearly as good as the planchets for the proof nickel. Now, have no fear, okay? There are two different ways to collect nickels, okay? If you're a collector of the business strike coins, obviously you want to try and go for the full steps designation. The older the coin with full steps and the high grade, the much more valuable it is. This 42D sold on Great Collections, I believe, July of 2019, so just over a year ago, for just over $25,000. So there is a ton of various possibilities stemming from actual gradation of full steps for a lot of the coins. Okay, you can even grade out newer nickels, 2019s, 20s, 2021s next year, and come away with a coin that if it grades high enough, like a mid-state 67 or 68, with full steps, it can be worth hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. All right, and then finally, with a proof coin, great news is there is a separate designation that gives these coins a lot of value, and that's this D-Cam here on the end, which stands for Deep Cameo. All right, so if you have a proof coin with an obvious, highly frosted devices contrasted to the just black fields that you see on this coin, and it grades out really high, if not a proof 69, maybe a proof 70, then you have hit it pretty well. Now, it's not $20,000 and $30,000 coins. Okay, those are best reserved for the older coins, but you could also try and cherry pick some of the older coins from like the early 50s. Cherry pick high grade Deep Cameo 1952s, 1951 Jefferson nickels. You can even go back into the 40s and 30s if you wanted to. But that's where a lot of the value is going to be associated, because during those times, the U.S. Mint was cranking out coins a lot more in quantity from that same set of dies, even on the proof coins. But the steps were still very sharp and very hammered. They just lost a lot of the frostiness, and the black fields weren't nearly as black. They became a little bit of satiny silver, to kind of match up to what a regular nickel would look like. But if you go back to those early 50s nickels and you find one that's a Deep Cameo, very nice coin, grades out like proof 68, 69, or 70, then some of those coins do sell for thousands of dollars. So there is another direction when it comes to the actual designation of a nickel for proof coins. You don't have to necessarily just sit there and like, oh, all is lost because, my proof coin is not considered full steps. Remember, I'm going to reiterate, proof nickels from 1970 onward are supposed to have hammered devices, okay? The pictures and photos, images that I showed you earlier in this video suggest so. Again, it would be more rare to find a nickel with an error on it. People look for errors, like a strike through, or weakness in the strike. Okay, that's another thing as well to consider. So, I hope this video helps out. Sorry it took too long, but this is something that, I've had a lot of emails, I've seen a lot of things on Facebook groups come in about, hey, my proof nickel has full steps, how much is it worth? And then we have to kind of like hit the brakes. And then sometimes people get upset because the contrasting information that they're receiving, like say on other YouTube channels, about the value of nickels, because they don't understand the differentiation between a business strike and a proof coin, okay, leads them down a path where they're going to get blown out by the experience because they feel like they were misled in information. So I hope this kind of clarifies things. I'm your host, Sean with Blue Ridge Silverhound. I want to thank you guys for watching yet again. I appreciate all the views and support. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, hit that bell for instant notifications. Again, and again, subscribing is very important. If you haven't done so, please show me your support by a subscription. And I thank you guys again. You guys take care. Have a great weekend. Stay tuned for more great videos by Blue Ridge Silverhound, and I will see you next time. Take care.